Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam!
Oh, light the beam on another one of these things, another one of these programs. Welcome in to the Sports Cave with Biggest Puma. I am your host, Sam Freas, broadcasting once again here on the north side of San Antonio, where not only do we find ourselves 14 days away from the NBA draft, exactly 2 weeks from tonight. LG, you'll also be happy. You'll be happy to know it is National Corn on the Cob Day. I hope you celebrated appropriately. I know we've been having fun with we were talking about some of the PR holidays that are a bit ridiculous, as well as the month-long observances last episode. I thought maybe we would do a little. I thought maybe if it's an important day like National Corn on the Cob Day, I thought we would make sure to mention it.
Not a fan, to tell you the truth. Not a fan of corn on the cob. I'm the kind of guy that takes a knife and cuts the corns off the cob.
Okay, so corn isn't the problem. It's the cob.
I'm not a
You're
big.
not a cob
I'm not
man.
a big fan of corn either. I like cornbread, but I don't like seeing it on the way out.
Yeah,
it doesn't digest well.
Okay, yeah. Look, I'll say this: every time I end up maybe having closing down a local beverage establishment, and it's 2 a.m. and Tacos El Regio still delivers, and I end up eating corn in a cup at 3 a.m.
That's my exception right there.
Yeah.
I can get down on some elotes.
Yeah, but it always. The next day, it always startles me. Like you said, it's like, I forgot. We ordered tacos.
Especially if you get like the puro one with the crushed up hot Cheetos on the top.
Oh yeah, no. Now you're just getting unnecessarily fancy, or actually necessarily fancy.
Yep.
If you haven't noticed, we are down a man tonight. Pour one out for the Cap. He is fighting hemorrhoids like nothing else. Hemorrhoids from hell. Now I was worried because he told me he's got some kind of like cold or nasally situation going. So I was worried it might end up working its way through all of us here.
Oh, I'm glad he bowed out then.
Yeah, I would much rather have. It's one of those deals where I think millennials catch a lot of hell for being soft or not having good work ethic, and it's like, okay, like you might have some good points overarchingly, but if you're sick, don't come to work. Don't go to work. Like we don't want to be around
don't fight
you.
Through it. No.
And don't do it. Don't do it just to protect your work ethic or to show that you're a hard ass.
Exactly.
Just be sick. Just be sick.
Go home and convalesce.
Yeah, it was so bad. I got a call from Cap about noon this afternoon as I was out running around town. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I got a call from him, and I know, the three of us all communicate about the same. If it's a call, it's something that is probably important.
Yeah, something happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I saw, I felt the phone vibrate, and I looked down and I saw, Cap, and I thought, oh hell, here we go. This is now it's time to really, I normally over prepare per usual, but tonight it was into hyper mode to try to get a show together here. So thoughts and prayers, mostly thoughts for Cap as he is under the weather tonight. But as you can already guess, I do have LG. LG, tell the good people how they can help us out here, how they can subscribe, how they can help the show grow.
Sure. You can hit that like button and the subscribe button because that's going to help us grow. We're aiming for 500 is our sub goal. 1,000 is our main goal right now in the short term. If you'd like to leave a tip, we need some new microphones. Captain does not like wearing these headsets.
No,
so
he's got a whole tight 15-minute of bitching.
Yeah, he does not like wearing these headsets. So if you want to leave a tip to help support this program, you can at buymeacoffee.com/sportscavelive.
Yes, and
that is the address.
Should always remind the good folks that the YouTube subscriptions are absolutely free.
That's correct.
So if you have a YouTube account, even if you, again, I understand it's not the most visually appealing program when you have to look at my long-haired redneck mug for 2 hours.
Especially now that I'm on screen. So
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that Cap was the one that was making us look better. I think
we're the ugly girlfriend.
That's correct. Yeah, we're all kind of in the same boat here. So YouTube subscription's absolutely free. If you have an account, go give us a subby there. And those audio numbers are still surprisingly continuing to grow. I shouldn't say surprising. It's a little too self-deprecating. But as always, I appreciate y'all supporting the program in whatever ways, and for y'all out there that support in all the available ways.
That audio is on all the platforms, right? It's
yeah,
on iHeart, Spotify, Apple, everywhere.
Yep.
Okay.
As iHeart has trained me, anywhere you get your podcast.
There you
we
go.
prefer the iHeart app.
You don't want to name the competition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anywhere you get your podcast, we prefer you use the iHeart app. Also, I should say I don't give enough love. Still doing the daily Bama Brown podcast with him as well. So, and those are also available wherever you get your podcasts. Those are little short 15, 20-minute episodes. And Bama is an absolute hell of a character. He's always got something he's going off on. So those are out there as well. Appreciate, again, all of the ways you all support us. We're going to talk some Cowboys in the main segment. I think that's why Cap is sick, now that I think about it. Because you remember Monday I said we were going to talk Cowboys main segment. It's all starting to come together now. I'm realizing what is actually happening.
It's a little early to talk Cowboys. It's only June 11th.
Well, and I don't disagree, because I know despite hitting the summer months here and NBA Finals Game 3 taking place right now, Stanley Cup Finals, once those are both over, it's nothing but baseball and the NBA draft till the fall, till football season. So not trying to rush into football talk, but the Cowboys did have, they opened mandatory OTAs this week. So we do actually have some Cowboys news to talk about as well. I don't think we've talked enough about the new head coach of your Dallas Cowboys, Schotty, Schottenheimer. I think he's kind of flying under the radar. And as much as we have bagged on other coaches, we played the Sirianni audio a couple weeks ago of the Eagles coach when he first got hired. Of course, we have fun with the Dan Campbell audio, the bite a kneecap off. That was from his introductory press conference. Well, Schotty is starting to really get comfortable behind the mic. And I think we're going to end up playing more Schottenheimer audio throughout the summer, because he is telling, I'll tease it with this. We don't have the audio of this one, but a story he told earlier this week. He was his senior year at the University of Florida. He opened the year as the backup quarterback, but by halfway through the season, he had already been demoted to third string. So the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, was the coach at Florida still at the time, and they're all over having Thanksgiving dinner at Spurrier's house, at the coach's house. Coach's wife cooking for the whole team, and playing. For them, Thanksgiving was always Florida State rivalry week, similar to Texas A&M Thanksgiving week. So they're all over there having dinner. And Schotty told the story that he goes around, he's asking for everybody's drink orders. He asked first string quarterback Danny Warfel what he wants to drink with dinner. He asked the backup, who was the backup? Doug Johnson or Doug something. I can't remember. But anyway, ask him what he wanted to drink. And then he gets to Schotty and he goes, Schotty, you're third string. It doesn't matter. You want a beer? And so Schottenheimer said he ended up killing 2 Coors Heavy with Coach Spurrier at Thanksgiving dinner his last year there at Florida, because and it went on. He didn't he didn't play in the game, so the beer wasn't a big deal. So we're getting stories like that from Schotty, but I think more of the actual X's and O's and him talking about how he's trying to develop the Cowboys as the leader of the, at least, well, not leader of the organization, but at least leader of the so-called leader of the team, even though the pressure of the Jones family is never going to allow him to call the shots. At least he is starting to be a little more detailed about what he's actually trying to build. So got some audio of him talking about that. We've got Micah Parsons, who is about 2 weeks too late on a TikTok trend, which is Micah's also dealing with something I think, at least I'll speak for myself. Micah's dealing with a little hairline issues, and so I sympathize with him on that. So we got that audio as well, and then the Cowboys actually have an upcoming documentary coming out on Netflix in August, and we'll hit on that a little bit. Of course, we'll close out with the lightning round, a bunch of lightning round quick hitters to get to. And then I teased it Monday, and we're actually going to get to it now, especially since it's just you and I, LG. We have, because I think you and I love this audio. Like, I know Cap enjoys it, but I think there's a different level of appreciation for this Charles Ramsey.
It's one of the best.
It's
one of the best man on the street like interviews after something happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it's audio from 2013, but it'll make a lot more sense once we get there. But as always, we start with what I watched last night. And, I know, well, speaking of this summer, we're it's not just going to be all baseball, because we actually have meaningful soccer being played this summer. And the U.S. men's national team does not look...
Friendlies are meaningful?
So the friendly last night, we'll start with it, because the U.S. men lose their 4th game in a row now. They lost to Turkey, or how do you pronounce it now? Turkey? I think that's how Erdogan wants it pronounced.
I think it's still Turkey.
It's Turkey, because all of the TBS commentators were working really hard to make sure they got it right, and you could hear it took them like 2.5 seconds to pronounce it every time. It was Turkey, like you're a kid learning English.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's still Turkey to me.
It's still Turkey to you. It's still whatever Erdogan wants it to be to me, because I intend on eventually. I want to see Istanbul. Well, you're a world traveler. Have you ever been to Turkey?
No, I wish. Yeah, I'd love to go to Constantinople.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. This is gonna be the anti-Erdogan episode. Yeah, I want to hit that Turkey, Morocco.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I want to hit that
the
little
food
wing
too, and the tea.
Oh, big time. And if Burroughs is to believed, the drugs as well. Quite. He wrote. What was that he wrote in Tangier? He wrote one of the books about. Junkie.
Okay. Well, I've been to Tangier, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, there's another one on my list I want to get to.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah. No surprise. I think that might be why it's on my list.
I don't really recommend it.
Really?
No.
Well,
it's the only place where I've been threatened by people who claim to be ISIS.
Well,
they obviously weren't. They were just tour guides that didn't get hired.
Sure.
That were butthurt.
And so they found their opportunity to pose as an intimidating force. Well, the U.S. lose to Turkey, and we'll go with Turkey. And then last night, the Turkey game was a 2-1 loss. Last night was an utter embarrassment. The final score was 4-0, but it's even worse when you realize Switzerland scored 4 goals in the first half. And it was like 3 goals in 27 minutes or something like that. So, I mean, it was just a blitz that
was a disgraceful performance.
Clearly showed the lines of where the U.S. is currently with this group. And there's a lot of politics with this group right now. Obviously, they've been framed as a golden generation, but have underachieved every opportunity they've gotten, including missing the World Cup in 2018, which should have been this generation's first experience at the World Cup. And I mentioned, they've now lost 4 games in a row, hadn't done that since 2007. So times are pretty rough. I should say, though, their top-end talent is not, Pulisic has taken the summer off, which is causing a lot of consternation amongst the former players that are now in the media. Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey had some sharp critique, some sharp words for Pulisic, which is ironic because Donovan is known for taking his own multiple sabbaticals in his career and falling in and out of love with the game of soccer. So they're missing Pulisic this summer. They've also got some guys that are recovering. Serginho Dest recovering from major injury. He's not with the group. Some other guys. Now Tyler Adams is a little gimpy and missed this game yesterday.
Bring out the gimp.
So they've got, it's not a full first team selection, but it's pretty close. And to get embarrassed, Switzerland's good, but Switzerland's not a upper elite European team, obviously, when you think of, your France, England, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, Germany. They're a decent gap behind those, and still were able to absolutely embarrass the I would call it, it's like so if you call, if you have an A team or a B team, it's like that A 1/2 team. It's like it's some first team selections, but mostly guys that are hoping to make a good impression to potentially have a chance to make the World Cup team next year. But you said it there. Are friendlies meaningful soccer? No. So all that being said about how bad last night was, it was just a friendly, and it was, featuring some guys that probably are at best on the fringes of actually being considered for a consistent roster spot. So the friendly last night, as bad as it was, is not nearly as much of a red flag as what the rest of the summer could turn into, because they do have meaningful soccer. It's the Gold Cup, and this is where soccer has so many competitions that it's hard at times to kind of keep track of which ones actually matter or which ones even feature first choice teams. The Gold Cup is being held as a, I shouldn't say tryout, but it's the U.S. national team trying to figure out what their team's going to look like next summer when we host the World Cup. So this Gold Cup is pretty important, and more so at this point, it just feels like it's important for the actual morale of the team. I mean, Pochettino brought in with high hopes and really good pedigree in the club game. But this is his first job at the international level. And, right now, I would say maybe pets' heads aren't falling off, but we're getting pretty close to that, especially with the weight of the expectations and hosting the World Cup next year, which, first of all, man, like the way things are going around here these days, that World Cup next year could be...
It's going to be fun. Is that 1 year from today?
Yes. Yeah. I believe it's like on the exact date 1 year from today. 1 year from today.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and not only that, also the Summer Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
Following that in L.A. So...
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great time for us to be on the... have the international spotlight on us as global travelers try to make it in and out of our customs. It should be fine, should be fun.
Now, the World Cup is like multiple cities, correct?
Yeah, and it's actually, this one is split between U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
Oh, I got you.
So I
it's a
think
North America World Cup.
It's a North
Gotcha.
America World Cup. I should phrase it like that, which is, again, even more ironic because the Canadian Canadian MP today was coming out and saying that we are no longer allies, Canada and the U.S. So all of the geopolitics aside, all of the visa and travel potential issues, I'm still excited for it because it is a World Cup, and it is. I think it's basically like it's like Canada gets a quarter of the games, Mexico gets a quarter of the games, and we get half. So we're still the predominant host, and we'll have all of the semifinals and finals in the U.S. as well. But it's serving. This summer is going to show, because not only we have the Gold Cup, we also have the Club World Cup. It's the first inaugural edition of it. So it's think of the World Cup, but with professional clubs from all around the world. So instead of it being the international teams, it's pro teams from each of the countries.
So it's like the LA Galaxy could be in it.
I believe either them or LAFC. One of the LA teams is in it. Inter Miami with Messi's in it. Seattle's in it. Yeah. And then they're gonna like PSG is in it. Chelsea's in it. Like the European teams are potentially just going to absolutely run over our poor MLS contingent. But it'll be interesting to see it every time one of these club competitions is held. Usually a team from Brazil or Argentina does really well because a lot of those European leagues are poaching players from South American leagues. So if one of those Brazilian teams still has young talent that hasn't been sold to Europe yet, they usually make a good run in it. But I'm still cautiously optimistic about the final result of Pochettino as national team manager, because I still think, grading him off of last night isn't entirely fair. And, the Gold Cup it's a run up. It's important, but at the end of the day, Pochettino was hired to get the U.S. further in the World Cup than they've ever been. So it feels like he still has next summer to really prove himself. But if it's soccer. I mean, if they have a terrible Gold Cup, he could get fired, this summer, and then they're scrambling. I don't expect that to happen because they invested so much money, but we'll see. Not dark clouds, to put it lightly, around our national team right now. And then elsewhere, I was flipping back and forth between the soccer, and my Rangers have actually won 2 games in a row now, believe it or not. And more importantly, they've scored, it was 16 last night, and it was 8 or 9. I think they've scored 25 runs in these last 2 games after being one of the worst offenses in all of baseball so far this season. They have, at least the last 2 games, struck, which also makes me nervous because let's save some of those runs for the rest of the series. But they absolutely put it on the Twins last night. And I was mentioning it, I think I said it Monday, the Rangers' upcoming schedule and the way the MLB standings sit right now, it's really not out of the question that if they can have a good month and a half here, be right back in a buyer's mentality instead of potentially looking to sell off some veterans, because there for a couple weeks it looked like we might be headed for a fire sale at the trade deadline. But signs of life, at least for the Rangers offense. Evan Carter had it's now back-to-back games with a home run for him after coming back from the injuries and actually starting the year in the minor leagues to work on some stuff. He is starting to really solidify his spot in. Is that Captain? Is Captain in the chat talking Yankees? Oh, that's spectacular. He's too sick. He's too sick to sit across from me, but he's going to sit here and critique the whole 2 hours.
Well, that's the least he can do is, entertain the chat.
Yeah, I guess that is still. I guess that still does count as some level of contribution, some level of attendance. I'll tell you, this reminds me of earlier this week or it was last week when Schottenheimer was asked, does he expect Micah to be at OTAs this week? And Schotty said, Micah's been present all off season. And so then they asked him a follow-up like, well, what exactly do you mean by he's been present when he hasn't been in the facility or been around the team? And Schotty said, well, there are other ways to be present than to be here in person. And that kind of feels like what Captain is doing right now. There are other ways to be present besides being at the table across from me.
Yeah, this ain't no return to office. You can work from home.
Yeah, I guess that is true. I should catch up with the times now, but I'm still not used. Again, if I'm sick, that is more than like when, on the radio show when I would be missing a day or missing a show because I was sick and, get asked to do a segment. And it's like, no, absolutely not. I am sick. I'm not.
You just shut down, right?
Yeah,
I'm the same way. Yeah.
No, I turned the phone.
I shut down.
The phone isn't even on me. I'm not even checking, social media or anything. If I'm truly sick, I am absolutely worthless to be around, and the roommate would attest to that.
I'm pretty miserable myself.
I make everybody else miserable, unfortunately.
Oh, it's true. I got sick in Japan, and the people I was with, they were like, "You're just a grumpy old man right now."
Well, that's a whole nother level too. Like getting sick while you're on vacation or while you're on a trip.
It was the last 2 days there too. It was rough.
That is terrible. When we went to China the first time, I thought I had a stomach of steel and I wasn't worried about eating anything and I'll be fine. I'm drinking the water. It's not going to hurt me. Buddy, it was like I held that mentality for the first 8 to 12 hours of the trip. And then the next 72, I was all kinds of tore up from the floor up.
They call it Montezuma's revenge.
Yeah, well, I think I had Mao's revenge over there. It was
or Genghis Khan's revenge.
Yeah, somewhere one of his offspring. What's the old urban legend? Like
we're all related to him.
Yeah, exactly. Did you catch the story? I talked with Bama about this. Our 10th president, President Tyler, his grandson died last week. Think about that. The 10th president of our country.
How old was his grandson? 110?
No, it's actually, so there was all total, there was a 238-year gap, or 238, 253. Those are the two numbers that stick out in my head. It's one of those two. But so Tyler had a kid after he left the presidency when he was 78. And then that guy had a kid when he was 65. And that kid was our 10th president's grandson. The only reason I know this is because every year on the dude's birthday, it would pop up, there would be a story that would go pseudo viral, or at least it would be on, Drudge Report or news or whatever. And I would see it. Every year I would forget. It'd be like, how is that? How does a 10th president have a grandson, not great grandson, a grandson?
Well, yeah, it makes sense if they were, shooting out offspring that late in life.
Yeah. And, if you were the former president, I think you probably had people looking to maybe carry your offspring later in life.
Yeah, maybe so.
At that point. Cap Cap is now, I don't know if he is appreciative of the fact that I compared him to Micah or if he took that as a slight. But if you are listening along live, Cap should keep the chat pretty lively. Elsewhere, Monday night as we were wrapping the show, walked into the living room just in time to see Corey Perry start a fight at the end of the game as the Ice Cats were destroying the Oilers 6-1. It feels like, now that Edmonton had home ice advantage, Florida split up there the first two games, and now that the series is back in Florida, it really looks like it might be a replay of how last year went. Although I keep bringing it up, the Panthers won the first three games last year, and then Edmonton bounced back for three straight before Florida won Game 7. So I think wouldn't surprise or shock me at all if we're staring at a Game 7. But the way Florida is playing, it looks clear to me that they know they need to win this series in 6 so they can have Game 6 at home. They don't want to go to a Game 7 up in Edmonton, especially with McJesus and a home crowd behind him trying to get a Stanley Cup to return to Canada for the first time. It's 92, 93. Montreal Canadiens, the last Canadian team. The Canadiens. Yep. And then
old-time hockey.
Obviously we're keeping an eye as we're doing this live tonight. We're keeping an eye on the Thunder Pacers game. I heard him say earlier, that's the first game first NBA Finals game in that arena since the first year it opened in the year 2000. So they opened the new arena and went to the finals that year. So if you're an Indiana fan, you're thinking like, man, life is great. The next 25 years are going to, how many NBA Finals are we going to host? How many times are we going to get to experience this? Well, it's now twice over the course of 25 years since that arena originally opened up. Pacers, as we sit here now, Pacers up 5 in the second quarter. We'll keep an eye on that. But obviously the roommate is out of town this week. I'm still solo until tomorrow night. So I don't know about you, but I tend to get a little cabin fever. I joke, we were talking Monday, joking about, playing the game of not acting too excited as I drop her off at the airport. Like, oh, darling, I'm going to miss you. It's going to be a rough week without you here. And then I immediately go home and play, 10 straight hours of every video game that I have been, telling myself, oh, I just need to find some time to play that.
Well, it could be worse. You could be going out to bars till 3 a.m. every night.
Yeah, well, I might have ended up at a karaoke night last night.
Okay, so you're doing both.
Yeah, okay, so
you're indulging.
Yeah, we got a little bored. Usually the first night she's gone, it's all video games, and I fall asleep on the couch, usually with the controller in my hand. And, that's probably about 3:30, 4 a.m. when that happens, usually. And so when she's on the West Coast, the 2-hour difference, there's some nights where I end up staying up later than she does because I stay up till 4:30 and she's asleep. Yeah, exactly. So I try not to overplay, how potentially excited I am as she's leaving for 4 days. But usually, yesterday was day 2. So day 1 was I was able to entertain myself. Day 2 was already looking for some friends in the neighborhood. Like, oh, it's Tuesday night. Don't y'all usually do karaoke tonight? So last night I walk in. This was the 3-song spread. The first 3 karaoke songs I heard when I walked in. First one was randomly now remember, this is last night. I don't think the news had broke yet. The first song I heard randomly was God Only Knows.
Oh, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Brian Wilson. We'll talk about that in the lightning round.
That's my favorite Beach Boys song, by the way.
It's Paul McCartney's favorite song ever.
Oh, wow.
So you're in good company. It's also, for my money, probably the greatest pop song ever recorded. I think that is pinnacle. If you're going to call Brian Wilson the godfather of pop, I think that's his crowning pinnacle achievement song. We'll talk about him and Beach Boys and Beatles and McCartney in the lightning round. But so the first song was God Only Knows. The second song was Napoleon Solo at the drive-in. There's a dude there, a dude that goes every week and sings a different at the drive-in song, which is
okay.
It's a good bit. I mean, it's a great bit.
Sing what you know.
Yeah. And so his second song screaming at the drive-in. And then the third song was Fall to Pieces, Patsy Cline. So, like, all over the map musically.
Where the hell were you?
Tony's. Good old Tony Siesta right there.
Okay.
Yeah, which, first of all, is basically the size of a linen closet. So karaoke in there and a dude screaming at the drive-in in that little...
Is there a stage or you just sing from the bar?
Dude, you're singing from...
You just sing from your seat and
That's
pass the mic.
basically, that's pretty much how it is.
Okay.
It feels like a frat house with a karaoke machine.
Gotcha.
Just everyone hanging out in the same room, passing the microphone, passing the blunt, passing the bottle, and it was pretty lively last night. So I've been doing a little bit of that too, and that's usually by night 2. I'm starting to really scramble to find something to do. Luckily, doing these shows, Monday and Wednesdays, that pretty much
reins you in a little bit. Yeah,
it helps. It helps. But last night, no show. We're doing karaoke till 2 a.m. But today, I actually went on a little bit of an exploration, a little bit of an adventure, and I have some show and tell for the stream. We'll describe it for the audio audience. So you remember last month, I told you I got the new Viagra Boys album, and it's something the roommate and I do. We buy each month, just as both of us are terrible gift givers, which is probably because of our extreme narcissism, for lack of a better word. But both of us are terrible gift givers. So we came up with a system where once, every month we both love records. So we buy each other a record that we think the other one would enjoy. So I went with the roommate graduating grad school last week. I was going to move up our monthly purchases and try to get her one as part of the gift I have for her. So I was scrambling. I went to 3 different record stores today. Went to Southtown Vinyl. Went to Hog Wild. Love. Those are my 2. Mm-hmm. Those are my 2 go-to. If I can't find it, if the guys at Southtown can't get it for me, because they do a lot of sourcing as well. Really good dudes down there.
Shout out Chacho.
Yeah, shout out Chacho. Shout out former Gabe worked there for a while as well.
Oh yeah, Freeverse. Yeah,
exactly. So good connection with them. Love those dudes. Chacho actually was our wedding DJ.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really good dude. So I still try to give them business first, and then if I can't find what I'm looking for, or if I don't find anything that jumps out, I shoot up to Hog Wild, just right there north of the neighborhood. Or now I think it's
San Francisco.
Yeah, no, it's they gave it an official new name. It's like the
district.
Yeah, like the Pride Cultural District Center or something. All right. The city gave it some. It's all up on the. I think most people will stick to the neighborhood, but so I went to those 2, and then actually found another one that's actually on Broadway. Do you remember where the old Half Price Books was?
Yeah.
On Broadway, a really cool little spot.
Yep, right down from the Witty.
Uh-huh. Ooh. So it shut down, but it turns out there is a record store right there in that same little, it's Crazy Rhythms Vinyl Records. And it's been there, he said, 6 years now. That was my first time to go into it. It's nice. It's got a lot of, if you're looking for, it feels like it's run by a older, metal kind of guy. Like it's got a lot more 60s, 70s records than new. And so I actually ended up spending the most time there because I was just digging through their crates looking at all the old records. But all that to say, at Hog Wild, I found this. Let's see if there we go.
Yeah, that's perfect. Cave World?
Cave World. There it is.
Yeah,
Cave World. By Viagra Boys. So this is the album. This was their most recent album until the one that we got last month.
Okay.
And so now that we are, collecting Viagra Boys albums as one should, because they are all so damn good. I saw this one today and I thought that's not going to be Steph's gift, but it's going to be my gift to myself. This is
might as well.
Yeah, and so I went ahead and did the job for her, and then there's for the video
your liner.
Yeah,
your liner art for the youngsters out there that don't know any better.
I know. It was funny today. There was a guy that was really geeking out because he found some old classic rock album that had the original liner in it.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking. He's like, I've been looking for this for 3.5 years.
You know what I've been looking for is the Up in Smoke soundtrack, the original one. It came with a giant zigzag that was like record size that folded out.
Because of course it did.
That's great.
Because of course.
Yeah, and if you can find some of the originals, they still have the zigzag in there because some people didn't realize that, it's the liner that you put the record in, but you could also unfold it and roll up a car-sized doobie.
Yeah, I was about to say, literally
a log,
an ounce joint. Hell, probably a QP joint that big. So yeah, I got the Viagra Boys, but then this was something I saw it and I immediately thought of you, LG, because this is it's a Zero album, but what it is it's
a single.
It's
a single with the main song, radio edit, instrumental, and acapella.
Good guess.
Okay.
It's a club vinyl. So it's not a Zero official. It's a Rap-A-Lot. It's a Rap-A-Lot vinyl that
it's a screwed up.
So we got Mo City Don, The Mule, Platinum. These are all from like Let the Truth Be Told. And then From the South, Don't Want to Hurt Nobody, and Respect My Mind. So they're all from that album, but it's before that album had actually come out. And this is what J Prince was taken to all of the Houston clubs.
It's a test pressing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a test pressing.
It's a test of, and executive producer J Prince right there on it.
So have did you listen to it in the store?
Well, no, I listened to it at the house because I figured even if it's warped or if it doesn't play well, it's still collectible enough to me just to have it because Zero's still my favorite Houston rapper. Okay. And ironically, it's funny. So I bought the Houston Rap-A-Lot sample album, club sample album, and then this Viagra Boys album has a song called Punk Rock Loser on it where he literally talks about mixing promethazine and 7-Up. So it's...
Oh, so there's a lean connection
there.
There
is, because our boy from Viagra Boys, Sebastian, is absolutely locked into any and all types of ways that you can consume illicit or illegal items.
That purple drink.
Yeah, he fully embraced. So...
R.I.P. Pimp C.
Yeah, rest in peace, Pimp C. As I went to the 3 record stores, couldn't find anything that I thought specifically would be good for Steph. So my last thought was, Half Price Books always has records. Let's just randomly see if they have anything good in there. And I don't mind going to Half Price because, as you can see on the stream, I'm holding a book that I purchased there today. And I'm curious if you have ever, of course you're aware of C.S. Lewis, like Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and of course you're familiar with Tolkien.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, right. So C.S. Lewis and Tolkien were best friends. They were almost the antithesis of each other. C.S. Lewis writing from a Christian perspective, Tolkien writing from a more not atheist, but from a secular. He just more, still writing about.
We call them heathens.
Yeah, that's what I get called.
Pagans.
Yeah, pagans, heathens. Not agnostic. That's the lazy man's atheist.
No.
Pick a side, one or the other. But Lewis and Tolkien have a lot of the same themes, just discussed through different lenses. One secular fairy tale, the other Christian religion or religious based. But both of them are at the core just how to be a good person or how to be a better person or how to resist temptation, like maybe resisting the temptation of the ring, resisting the power and temptation, or as this book details, resisting the temptation of the devil. This is Screwtape Letters. This is a book that if you've never heard of it, C.S. Lewis wrote this book specifically for, he wrote it as a response to Tolkien, like as a...
Is it a spite book?
So it is, explain what that means.
Is it written out of spite? Like,
not out of spite,
okay,
but out of understanding and like trying to write the same themes, but from a more humanistic, secular perspective, which sounds weird because it deals. So in the book, Screwtape and Wormwood are uncle and nephew, and Screwtape, they're both demons in Satan's army, and Screwtape is writing these letters to Wormwood, telling him how to do a better job of tempting humans to commit sin, to do bad, right? But the way I had this book given to me by my childhood pastor who could tell I was turning into a heathen.
A man of faith.
Yeah. Me and Thom Brenneman, cheers to Thom. He could tell that there were some issues arising in my behavior.
No way.
Yeah, imagine at 15, 16 years old.
There were signs.
There were a few signs. And so Pastor Tim Presson, one of the most influential people in my entire life, he gave me this book. It didn't suggest it. He said, you're reading this book and then you're going to tell me what you think of it. And it absolutely changed a lot of the way I thought about dealing with not just temptation, but just human urges. And again, I'm a 16-year-old high school boy. Dealing with urges was a theme I needed some assistance with. Mm-hmm. And this book, it's the Screwtape Letters, How a Senior Devil Instructs a Junior Devil in the Art of Temptation. Originally, C.S. Lewis wrote it in the 40s during World War II, and each letter was sent to the Guardian to publish. So C.S. Lewis would publish these letters through the Guardian during World War II, and then ended up putting them all together in a book and added, like 20 years later in the 50s, late 50s, actually added a addendum, an amendment at the end that was, kind of the the response to his initial letters, it was Wormwood's response to his uncle after all of that. So I say all of that because it feels like, as we have kind of been shyly referencing lately, like things are a little crazy domestically here. And I think when I kind of, see a lot of people that claim to be principled or claim to have morals and then do things that outwardly display they are hypocrites. This is a book that Steph had never read it. So I got it specifically because it's one, I thought I owned it, but it's a book that I've owned this book 20 times in my life, and I've given it away 19. This is now.
This is the one you give people.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a big time give people. And I didn't realize this, but I was going down a YouTube wormhole like I will, and have you ever heard of the 90s author David Foster Wallace? Wrote Infinite Jest. Wrote a bunch of really, really, really good short stories. Infinite Jest is kind of that book where if a dude has it in his dating profile, it's a red flag because it's kind of like it gets co-opted and used by a bunch of unsavory indivials.
Okay,
like it gets used. You get what I'm saying? Like
they take it out of context.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it gets
like
used,
the Bible,
or like Ayn Rand or Ayn
like
Rand,
any religious book,
right?
Yeah.
Or any book that is, or like Screwtape Letters. I'm sure people use for bad deeds, but David Foster Wallace is one of my cultural leaders. Like I would be the guy that has the red flag in the dating bio if I ever had to get one again, because he is his writing is really, really good. But what I enjoy the most is he did a couple of interviews with Charlie Rose back before Charlie Rose was canceled. This was, of course, back in the 90s, but his long-form interviews that are out there on YouTube, it's clearly a man that understood in the mid-90s how much the world was actually changing around everybody without everyone realizing it. Like he was, main themes of isolation and loneliness driven not by instincts but by societal changes. The polarization, the isolation of people. He was a university professor in the Midwest, I think like Minnesota or Iowa or somewhere. But he just somehow it seemed like he had a perspective that was 30 years ahead of where it is. And I bring him up because I was watching I just YouTubed Screwtape Letters just to see if, what was out there, see if, because, a book like this, YouTube content creators are, doing 3-hour, 5-hour thesis videos on this book. And so I thought, maybe I could find a good YouTube video to, see somebody else's perspective or appreciation for the book. And it turns out David Foster Wallace, in one of the interviews that he gave back in the 90s, said this book was his number one book ever. It was the top of his list. He said, it's a top 10. I think his exact quote was, Screwtape Letters is a top 10 book for me, and it's not 2 through 9 or 2 through 10. Like it was, and the audio version that was released, I believe in the 80s or 90s, one of the voice actors is the great John Cleese, the former Python.
Karate Kid. Yeah, right?
One of the former Monty Python.
Oh, yeah,
One of the
yeah.
Python guys.
No, I was thinking Sorry, that's his character's name
Oh,
in Karate Kid. But yes.
Yeah. So he ended up winning I think it was a Grammy, because it was like spoken word, but I think that technically counts as a Grammy because it's an album or it's a
Really?
recording.
I didn't know you could get Grammys for audiobooks.
I'm pretty sure it's a Grammy because
That's crazy.
just because it's audio. But found this, all of that to say, I know I gave the Viagra Boys album suggestion and had a couple of y'all reach out and say, had a couple of them reach out and say, loved it, it's been on repeat. And then had another one reach out and say, I knew I wasn't going to like it, but I tried just to let you know I at least tried. So I appreciate that as well. This is a book that no matter where you are on the religious spectrum, this is just a damn good book. It's a really, really good book, especially, as I say, now when, there's a lot of questioning of humanity at times. And that book, Screwtape Letters, I've found is a great way to tether yourself back to your internal principles. Because I've said it before. I mean, I'm not the least bit religious or spiritual or anything anymore. Haven't been, since about that time, since about 15 or 16 years old. And all of that to say, I wouldn't trade any of the religious upbringing I had or being forced to read books like that, because that's where my principles still originated and still where they formed and where they come from. So it's the reason I give that book out. And I think it surprises a lot of my friends in the past that have said, like, what are you doing giving me a C.S. Lewis book? Or what are you doing reading a C.S. Lewis book? And it's like, well, just because I don't believe the same way he doesn't mean that it's not a really good book or that he's a really good author. So I would. That's true. Yeah. If you are looking for a summer reading, you could burn Screwtape Letters in a weekend, and I would highly, highly suggest it. So that was pretty much my whole afternoon before I realized Cap was going to be MIA tonight and scrambled back from Half Price Books to start to put together a run sheet. But I know you had your own adventure this week, or was that today? Was that earlier today?
Yeah, it was today. It was fun. It took about 30 minutes.
Tell the good people what took 30 minutes.
Picking up my new ride.
Well, and I am here.
It's the easiest car buying experience I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, see, the more you tell me about, again, it's pretty ironic, like I'm not religious, but I'm suggesting you read a C.S. Lewis novel. You're not aligned politically with Elon, but you're singing the praises of the Tesla.
It's a good car.
That's how we work here. It's a good book. It's a good car. It's good chicken.
So yeah. It drove me to HEB and back, and I didn't have to drive. It was nice.
Have you had any kind of oh shit moment yet with the auto driving?
No, not yet. Not yet. The only oh shit moment is when I put the pedal to the metal, and it just floors me. It just throws me back.
I was about to say, I saw a video of a dude, one of these live streamers that are, drive crazy doing all the weaving and stuff. But it was him and his buddy in his new Tesla, and he put it in ludicrous.
Yes, I don't have ludicrous mode. You have to have a Model S or X to get ludicrous mode. But yeah, I heard that's crazy too.
Yeah, he put it in, and he had his buddy sitting in the passenger seat, but his buddy was kind of like squatting in the seat instead of sitting in it, because as he accelerated in ludicrous speed, it literally threw his buddy back up against the back of the seat. And you remember the old cliffhanger ride at Six Flags where it would feel like you're floating?
Oh, yeah.
You put the penny on your knee and the penny will float in front of you and you can see it. That was what was this thing was going so damn fast that it was literally holding him in place by just the pressure, the force of throwing him back in the seat. So
there's a Grand Tour episode, or the dudes from Top Gear, where they do a Model X and they race it up against like a Lamborghini or something, drag race, and X just smokes it.
oh yeah, I mean that instant torque, that electric.
And he puts it in ludicrous speed, and it's just like, pow.
No, it is.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those. It's still hard for me to not wrap my head around, but to instantly remember that thing can actually haul ass.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared by it. Like I don't know how much I'm going to use that.
Well, it looks if you're not interested in speed, at least it does.
It's there if I need it.
Yeah, it's an
there
option.
if I need it, and $2,000 can get me even more speed if I want. So
see, that's the weird thing to me. You
Yeah.
keep talking about all of these monthly, like you pay monthly for the self-driving. You can get a speed upgrade package for a certain cost.
Yeah.
You can get all of these. It's literally that car is a video game.
yeah, it's a video game.
It's all
good.
just update the software and you get access to it. It's crazy.
I've actually got a software update I have to install, and it said it's going to take 55 minutes, and I cannot drive the car while it installs. So there's the downside of having a computer car.
So you said it drove you to HEB.
Yeah.
Does it pick a parking spot, or is it
you pick the parking spot, but it parks for you. So once it gets into the parking lane, you'll start to see the parking spots pop up on the screen, and you just tap one of them, and then it always backs in, so it'll back into it.
Okay, look, as a humanoid back-end parker, I do absolutely appreciate that. At least.
Yeah, you never know when you have to leave quick, so always back in.
Always back in.
Yeah.
I think you probably may. I liked that truck you had, but I think you're probably in a better spot.
The truck
now.
was good, but I kind of got a deal I couldn't refuse on this thing. So
God, it is funny. Like we're gonna end up seeing your Tesla on my SA or on the news because someone's gonna jack with it.
Oh, I mean, I hope not. You better not. I got my Sentry mode on, so I'm going to record your ass if you try to vandalize it.
Sentry mode,
you got like 7 cameras surrounding that thing. But the model I got, it's the same model that Elon's rolling out in Austin as the robo-taxis. They're already being spotted on the streets.
I saw some clips.
Yeah, they're already being spotted on the streets. So he says, I think he said the 23rd, whenever his birthday is at the end of June, he's supposed to launch the full fleet of robo-taxis in Austin.
Yeah, and I'm sure there won't be any issues with that. I'm sure it'll go completely smoothly. I guess, have there really, what is it, Waymo or Wemo?
Yeah, Waymo.
Haven't really seen any news headlines that those have been, like we haven't had one drive anybody off a cliff or anything.
No, I've seen them get stuck where like they just like can't figure out where they're going. They just start going in circles like around a block but they've been operating for over, I'd say 8 years in San Francisco. So they have a lot of data on those, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the roommate rode in one last time. She's in San Diego this week, but the last time she was in L.A., she rode in
San
one
Diego.
for the first
A
time.
whale's vagina.
Yeah, it's I wish Cap was here because I was going to show him the picture. She's staying in a hotel that is right next to Petco Park or whatever they call it now.
Right there in Gaslamp.
In the Gaslamp, right. That's where
District.
their event is. So it's the big Cisco Live event, which is, it's a huge deal. I've been seeing some of the footage of the conference, and her hotel, as they were on the rooftop bar Monday night, it was Dodgers and Padres in extra innings.
Nice.
So it is perfect. They are like right above
the buildings
stadium.
are right in the outfield. Like if you look out there, it's just downtown. So all those people get free badass views of the games.
Yeah, it was awesome. The unfortunately for the home crowd there, Dodgers ended up winning that first one Monday night in extras. But she was sending me, like I was saying earlier, as I'm still up gaming, it's midnight, 1 a.m. here. It's only 11 or 10:30, and they're in extra innings there. So she's sending me pictures of the view from the stadium, and it literally looked like it was. I mean, it looked like it was like a blimp shot, just from how clear and right on top of the stadium it was. I couldn't believe her. I thought she was effing with me at first because didn't expect to. Well, first of all, didn't expect her to be watching baseball as that massive conference was taking place out there. But it was a great view. I know we talked about it Monday, but I think this is going to be a recurring theme, at least for a couple weeks, as it's still new. I went to a couple Targets as I was out running around today.
What were you looking for?
Well, I just thought potentially if I needed a couple things, and
You thought Target would be the place to go to
Well,
get those things.
I thought, well, I can get some cat food at this Target,
Okay.
and maybe walk by the electronics department and
There we
see
go.
if there's a Switch 2, and then if there is not, I'll go to another Target to buy some cat litter. And then walk by the electronics. Well, I went 0 for 2 today. I struck out. Yeah, I still haven't. And it's one of those, like, I'm not actively hunting.
But if you see one,
But if I see
might
it,
as well pick
I might
it
as
up.
well snag
Might
it.
as well grab it.
So I feel like we're gonna need some updates as it's still new and fresh. How many more hours of Mario Kart have we put in?
Since Monday, probably about not that much, 5 maybe. I've
Oh,
played a
okay.
few circuits, and there's this new mode called Knockout Mode, where you race from like point A to point B on a map. And,
I heard that's the most. I heard that's the most fun part of the game.
it's pretty fun, and it's a lot. It's like an endurance race. So every time you hit the finish line, it eliminates 3 or 4 people until there's only 4 people left in the race.
Well, and
at the end of
there's what 20?
I think it's 24. Yeah, I think it's 24. You can
24
play.
Have you done any online
So
racing
yeah,
yet?
so I also tried online, and it's just it's hectic, man. But it's fun.
Oh, I bet
because it's so hectic, it's fun. And yeah, it's. I thought it would be really difficult, but the way Mario Kart's set up, they make it to where anyone can actually win. So.
Yeah, because again, it's still a kid's game.
Yeah,
Like,
you never know. Like you could be in last place and you get a bullet or something that shoots you up into first place.
Yeah, one of the videos I was watching about it, it said that they have programmed this one to give less of those out. So like you can still get them, but it's about a quarter of the chance as it was in Mario Kart 8. How about the open world? Because I know that's a big selling point. It's the first open world Mario game.
It's cool, but I feel like it's kind of a letdown because when you say the word open world, you think like Grand Theft Auto, you think
Right.
the newer Zeldas,
Cyberpunk.
or Elder Scrolls or something
Yeah.
like that, Cyberpunk. But no, it's just kind of like they open up the entire map for you to drive around in, but it's kind of aimless. There's little goals here or there, but there's no like tracking system to keep up with like what you've completed.
Yeah,
But you can unlock costumes and stuff, and just like I just feel like I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the open world.
Yeah, one of the streamers I was watching, he was talking about there's just no incentive to really spend a lot of time in the open world. Like
That's
you
true,
said,
yeah.
there's no, like, if you want to be a completionist and try to see and do everything, there's no count or counters or marks or
No.
any badges or anything that you're working towards.
See, I thought it was going to be kind of like Forza Horizon or
Right.
Need for Speed, where you have this open world, and that's like you drive to the events. Like, oh, I got to go to this part of town to hit that one race, and I got to go over here to hit the paint shop. But no, it's just kind of like a separate thing that's like not part of the regular races.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. There was a
Yeah.
game called, what was it? The Crew, and it was open world. The whole map was just a condensed version of the U.S. So you're just driving across the U.S. It's a big map.
Cruising USA.
Very much so. Yeah, very similar. But as I was, in the lead up to the Switch 2 release, that was in my head kind of how I thought it might be, because I never played.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was going to be just like, Forza
I never
Horizon.
played Forza.
Yeah.
I've always been Gran Turismo guy, mainly because Forza wasn't on Sony until recently.
See, Forza Horizons was their open world version of Forza. The regular Forza is more like the Gran
It's more
Turismo
the
or
simulator.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's good, man. I'm probably gonna get like Breath of the Wild with the upgrade because I never played it. So
You never played through either?
I never played either of the Zeldas on Switch 1. I have Tears of the Kingdom, but I never played it. So.
Man, we need to get some streams up and running because I want to try the Mario Kart online with that many people.
It gets wild at times, but it's fun, especially the knockout rounds because they're super long races.
Yeah, I can envision that being a lot of chaos, carnage, but also a lot of fun along with it. Well, definitely if you get the Zelda games as well, I want to see what they look like
upgraded. In HDR. You know?
That was always the thing with the Switch. It felt like it was just barely hanging on to try to get the image on the screen at times. Like I played. Obviously played both of the Zeldas, but the game I had, I bought Sid Meier's Civilization 6.
Yeah, that's going to make any system crawl.
But I thought it's the perfect game to have on a tablet. Mm-hmm. I can take it anywhere. I'll play the smallest map sizes. I'll try to make it as smooth as possible or as easy to run as. No, I don't think I ever finished a single Civ because it would crash in game in modern era.
Yep.
It would eventually.
The bigger the world, the slower it gets.
Even the PS5, because I ended up buying. Civ is one of my favorite long running series back from childhood, and I ended up buying 6 on the PS5 because the Switch just struggled to run it so much, and even the PS5 can't do it. So I mean, it feels like I need like a custom-built Alienware PC or something crazy like that.
They did release Cyberpunk on the Switch as a Switch 2 version, and apparently it runs excellent.
That's what
everyone's giving it rave reviews.
Compared to how poor the release was.
They fixed it.
Yeah,
but still, you gotta show up better than that.
Yeah, the final version of Cyberpunk and the first storyline was Keanu Reeves. Second storyline, Idris Elba.
I heard they added that.
They're amazing.
DLC. Yeah.
The DLC changed the whole game. Like it changed a lot of the, dynamics and progression, skill tree stuff like that. It ended up being. I liked it because that's normally not like. I love the movie Blade Runner, but I never had a whole lot of desire to live in that world as I watched the movie. And so Cyberpunk to me was always like I want to play it because it looks cool, but I didn't think I would immerse.
And you did,
and I did. I ended up eventually. Yeah. So if you've never played that, and like you said, reports are the Switch 2 is actually running it pretty well. So I would definitely because you're still. I mean, outside of Mario Kart, it's all
nothing.
Yeah, it's all enhanced versions.
Upgrades, yeah.
Well, I would definitely the Zelda games, definitely Cyberpunk as soon as you get tired of getting beat by 10-year-olds online on Mario Kart because that.
Well, luckily I don't have like the microphone set up, so I don't hear. They're not talking shit about my mom or anything.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's. I think in the long run, I would. Even when I'm playing an online game, unless it's like something where we have to coordinate as a team, I'm always mic off.
Apparently there's a camera now, too, that is an accessory with the Switch, and you can like put your face up on the screen when you're playing online. I don't know how safe.
Feels weird for Nintendo to...
What's the over-under for when someone whips something out?
Yeah, I was about to say, I would... My guess would be we've probably already passed that.
Yeah, it's already happened.
Yeah.
Nintendo probably already thought of it. There's got to be some kind of safeguard in there.
Yeah, you would think so. I don't think you're going to get Death Stranding 2 on the Switch 2.
Well, they do have hundreds of hentai titles
Well,
for some strange reason.
Well,
But
I think we all know it's strange to most, but not to all, which is why it's available. Well, let's talk a little Cowboys here in the main segment because eventually we're going to have some. I've been working. I haven't told you, LG. We'll do some, since Cap's not here, we'll do some production in front of the camera. I've been working on some interstitials and intros for different segments. So like
sound effects?
Yeah,
Okay,
a little sounder and maybe God forbid at some point maybe even actually putting chapters on the
getting real fancy.
We're
with
trying.
It.
Look, we're still
timestamps. Damn.
I know, God, I know, because I can just make my little note of like, ooh, we did that at 9:15 and have it right here. We've been doing it now, going into our third month here, and feels like it might be time to add a few more elements. So I've been working. I've had the roommate voicing some too. So we'll see what makes it out of production. But here in the main segment tonight, let's talk a little Cowboys because mentioned at the top, we had perfect full attendance at the mandatory OTAs this week, which was, even in last week's episode, we talked about Trayvon Diggs potentially not flying back. He had been rehabbing away from the team as he rehabs for a second straight offseason. Well, he was facing a $500,000, not just a fine, but a de-escalating clause on his base salary where it wouldn't be a fine. It would just be you're losing $500,000 off your base salary for the rest of the deal. So that's one way to motivate a professional athlete to come just basically hang out with the team for the week, as he couldn't do anything on the field or any kind of individual drills as he rehabs. But it was good to see Diggs in the building. It was really good to see Micah in the building, especially as TJ Watt holds out, Hendricks in Cincinnati holds out. Two guys similar to Micah. Watt more similar to Micah. Hendricks looking for his last big deal. But the two guys hold out. Micah shows up. Micah even apparently had a good long conversation with Jerry on the practice field as well, which they both claimed they didn't talk contract numbers. They were just catching up, just figuring out, asking what they how they had been spending their summer up until then. But good to see, as Micah has talked about wanting to be more of assuming the leadership role. You can go back and follow the breadcrumbs now. There was some drama last year in specifically the defensive line room. It doesn't seem like Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence have any love lost for each other. And Micah looking to assume that leadership role, not just in the D-line room and not just on the defensive side of the ball, but as a team leader, really, really become that vocal, number two guy behind Dak in terms of, face of the team. Dak's always going to be that because he's a quarterback of the Cowboys. But Micah clearly, he said he wanted to be it. He said he wanted to assume that leadership vacuum, that void that was left. But you can't do that if you don't show up to OTAs. So despite still not having a new deal done, we at least got him. He didn't do anything on the field either, so let's not get crazy. Don't let me make it sound like he went through full team activities with everybody. No, but at least he was there. Going back to when Schotty said, you don't have to be there to be present. Well, now he at least was present in the flesh, in full form, despite not going through any on-field activity besides talking to Jerry. It's good to see. I think we're going to play some audio here from Micah next. Mike, I've long, back to the days of Micah Parsons looked good again. I have always hoped that the end form, Micah's final form, was actually a elite top 3 edge rusher in the league. And as much as the stats suggest that, there still have been questions with Micah, and I would not shy away from the fact that the questions of the distractions of the podcast, the questions of the garbage time sacks when the Cowboys are, when the game is not nearly the sacks that he gets when they don't actually end up being as impactful to winning games. That's the one of the rubs, one of the knocks on Micah. So all that being said, they got to give him his money. It's just a matter of when they do it, and it seems like Jerry's going to drag it out the same way they drug out CD last year. But Micah is still, last summer it was the sumo wrestling trip with CJ Stroud, and now Micah is really taking a liking to TikTok, apparently, where if you saw the trend that's been going around for the last couple weeks, it's where dudes just randomly call up their bros, their buddies, and tell them good night. And Micah...
That's a good bit.
It's look, I understand the bit, and it was a good bit, but when you're doing a bit like that 2 weeks later, everyone you call, or I should say almost everyone you call, knows what you're doing. So there's no bit anymore because everyone's seen it everywhere. And we got most of those type of responses from the actual teammates, but Micah also called up Schotty as well, and Schotty gave a little bit of a different answer. So we'll play this and start and stop here because this is a compilation of multiple call. He calls Diggs, he calls Osa, he calls Schotty, and I want see if you can pick up on the differences in attitude amongst the different positional players here.
Hello?
Yo.
Yo, what's going on, fam?
No, I just wanted to say goodnight, bro.
What you are, bro? I know you lying, bro.
Nah, bro. I love you, my nigga. I want to say,
too, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to say
I
goodnight.
appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.
It's good for my mental, bro. This is what I needed, man.
Bro, that's the part that I hate. Like, I just feel like recently nobody check up on us no more.
No, fact, bro. Like, the reassurance, bro, is that somebody is always there for you and valuable, bro. Shit.
Hey, I love that, bro. For real.
Man, this made my night, bro.
Okay.
That's special to me. I love that you said that.
Yeah, okay. So
That's wholesome.
Yeah,
A little wholesome.
That is the best case for it. And man, I can't remember. That's not Diggs or Osa. I can't remember who that first one is. It's either, I don't think it's CD either. But that is the best case scenario for how this can go. Let's hear the next one.
That's what it's about, bro. Squad up.
Okay, here's Trayvon.
I just called to say goodnight, bro.
You on your TikTok shit?
No,
Pause
bro,
it. Pause it. If you didn't catch that, like, this is Trayvon Diggs. Immediately, as soon as Micah says, I just called to say goodnight, there's a long pause, and Diggs goes, you on your TikTok shit? Like, Diggs has no time for this. He's not playing along. He's not, which I think this would be, if you were to call me up to tell me good night like this would be my, oh, okay, are we on stream right now? All right, yeah, are you recording this? Okay, all right, play it.
Think about you.
You too, bro.
Yeah, good night, man. Sleep well.
Still got an I love you out of him.
Kiss the babies.
You too.
then this is
Yo, bro.
Odigizua, the fellow D
I
lineman.
just called to say goodnight.
Listen to this laugh. That's such a defensive lineman. Like, it just...
Yeah,
I seen the video.
I love you, bro. I love you.
Bro.
Hey, good night, bro.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you have a good night as well. You coming to dinner on Monday?
Yeah, seriously.
Of course, the interior defensive lineman worried about if he's going to make it to dinner. Pause it there real quick. The that laugh and that voice is immediately, I feel like I instantly can tell that is a 6'2", 6'3", 290-pound quarterback destroyer from the D line. It's just very. That's what I want my defensive lineman to sound like. Like that deep laugh, intimidating, just sounds like ho, ho, ho. All right, fire it up there.
What's up, brother?
Yo, bro, I just called to say goodnight, bro.
Oh, I only got something. Man, you funny as fuck, son. All right, good night, my dog.
That's all, bro. Good night, bro.
Good night,
Sleep
my
well.
dog. Hey, have a good night, my dog. What up, buddy?
What up, coach?
Pause it here,
man, you
LG.
Yeah, I just.
So first of all, we're getting to know Schotty. We're getting to, like I mentioned at the top, we haven't really talked a lot of Schottenheimer. And when you hear him in the press conference that we're going to play after this video, remember what he sounds like here as he's answering the phone from Micah Parsons at some late hour of the evening here. Remember what Schotty sounds like here.
What up, buddy?
What up, coach?
What you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, I just wanted to say goodnight.
Okay. I love that, bro. What's going on? Y'all good?
Hell yeah. You know,
Pause
I just feel like,
So, like, instantly Schotty's like, what up, man? What up, man? How you doing, bro? What up? Like, a little code switching, clearly.
Yeah.
But also, do you think Mike McCarthy would ever attempt to do any of this? No. Do you think Bill Parcells or Jimmy Johnson? No. And this is where thinking specifically about Schotty, I don't know what he's going to look like as an X's and O's coach, but he keeps talking about culture and building a culture. And guys like Micah, athletes from this current era, and really specifically the Micah and younger era, you know, the mid-late 20s and under, it feels like the NFL is starting to feel or starting to turn into more of a relationship game, managing relationships than actually managing players or, that's what coordinators are for. That's what your guys, Eberflus, D coordinator, is going to have all summer, all training camp, all week to week to figure out exactly where Micah is going to do the most damage. Schotty is focused on the relationship building part of it. And at the end of this, as this conversation goes along, first of all, Schottenheimer never catches on to what's happening whatsoever. He has no idea that he's a part. It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like he has any idea that he's a part of a Micah TikTok video. But secondly, the way he goes straight into talking business, and see if you pick up on that, because I think Micah actually loves Schotty, is what I think.
I just feel like, as player to coach, just checking in on you, mental, say goodnight, hope fans well, see you Monday, excited about next week. Just a good night.
Well, good, man. Well, hey, look, I know this is weird for everybody, man, but look, you're handling everything the right way, bro, and this thing's going to get worked out. And, again,
He thinks he's having issues.
Right.
I'm thrilled to see
Well, the contract.
where we take this thing, man. We're building something special, and you're going to be a huge part of it, bro.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Schotty. Take a Schotty from me when you got a chance, man.
Hey, I'm drinking a Schotty right now. Turn in for the night, brother.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Call, man, for real. And I look forward to seeing you Monday, and it's going to be a great week.
Hell yeah. See you soon, Coach.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. Later.
So great. So you hear back when they did a video on it was their schedule release video that was so awful. It was just a 30-minute long or like a 3-hour long Twitch live stream where they just dropped hints along the way of what the schedule was. But they were out on a golf course, on the Cowboys golf course up there in North Texas, and all of the players are sipping on something. And then Schotty has a double pour of whatever. I think Schotty parties is what I'm saying. Like, it feels like that is a part of his relationship building process with these guys. He keeps talking about how he's been taking different position groups out to dinners together and emphasizing that he pays for them. Like that is of any effect to professional athletes. He put a ping pong table in the locker room. Like we are going full, seemingly going full college locker room kind of vibe. Very frat house. Like Micah telling him, take a Schotty for me. Like we're having fun with the last name nicknames, and Schottenheimer saying, "Oh, I've already got one right here." Whether he did or not, he knows the line. Like I think Micah said that seemingly to make fun of him, and then Schottenheimer responded so quick. I think it actually got Micah's like, "Oh shit! All right, I love this. All of that to say, it all feels very Dave Campo when the coach got so friendly with the players that they felt like it was okay to pants him on the practice field during a Hard Knocks episode. We could be traveling. This could end up being, it's not going to be as much fun when they're 3-7 through the first 10 games of the season. And this still very much could be Dave Campo 2.0. But damn it if I'm not starting to at least buy into some of it, because it is such a stark departure from the culture of Mike McCarthy showing, clips from Austin Powers as motivational tools in team meetings, or bringing Gallagher in to smash watermelons. At least Schotty's references and way of doing things is a little more or a little more up to the modern era we find ourselves in. Not far enough where he recognizes he's a part of a TikTok trend, so he's not ultimate coach bro that's locked into what's happening on TikTok, but he is at least it seems like making legitimate connections with the most important players on the roster, with Micah being near the top of that list after Dak, talking as soon as he shifts gears into, hey man, I know this is weird. He's talking about the contract extension. He's talking about the fact, he's like, look man, I'm telling Jerry, let's get this done, but I know it's weird. Show up Monday and we'll keep building, working towards getting that done. So clearly he is doing everything he can to try to keep Micah engaged. And again, like, save this audio, mark this audio, and play it for me when they're 5 games under 500 after 7 weeks, or however potentially bad this start could be. I think their schedule is actually, it's the second half of the schedule. Like, they might not win a game after week 9 or 10. I don't think they're favored in any game in the second half of their schedule, or maybe the Giants game. But outside of that, it could be a terrible season. Vegas is suggesting they're the 3rd best team in the division. And they're also suggesting that they are an under 500 team even after the Pickens trade. So I'm fully preparing myself for utter disaster with Schotty. But right now, I would be lying if I told you I wasn't at least enjoying the entertainment factor and seeing him try to build this quote unquote culture that is so important to him. And this is where that other clip I got comes into play, because a couple of things I've noticed while listening to Schottenheimer press conferences or clips that have been going around. This is a clip that made the rounds, him talking about specifically about the culture they're building and why that's so important. But I want you to notice he does a specific tick with his sentence structure that I think is going to drive me insane the more I hear it. Throw it up there, LG.
Very easy. I want to be the greatest culture in professional sports, and that's saying a lot. I get that, but it's no different than sitting up here and talking about winning Super Bowls. I mean, there's a standard. The standard is we want to be the best, and will we be the best culture? I don't know. We're gonna try. And will we make mistakes along the way? Absolutely, we'll make mistakes, and then we'll fix things. And but you guys asked me a couple weeks ago about GP coming in here. How does he fit the culture?
GP.
Well, the culture's more than just one person, And so the big thing that goes into culture too, I think, is being authentic. I will always be authentic. I'm never going to stand up here and pretend to be something I'm not. I think that's a recipe for disaster in this business. I've seen it. I've seen it fail. I think I shared with you, my dad said, hey, if you ever get a shot to be a head coach, one thing you should never do is change. Be yourself. And so the culture that we're building here is something that I truly believe in, and that most of these players that we have, they believe in it, or if they don't believe in it yet, hopefully them seeing my conviction makes them buy in.
Yeah, and that's where I say he gets me, because I could not agree anymore with his take on authenticity. Just everything around you is fake now. We were talking about it Monday night, all of these brands that jump on whatever the culture war trend is, not because they actually care about society or the people in it, just because they care about profit and they care about money. And with everything being politics full of hypocrites, no principles, nothing authentic coming from them, businesses, corporations, nothing actually authentic outside of mom and pop or smaller level companies that are focusing on authenticity. You work in the corporate world, how that is. The authenticity there is most times a detriment to your upward mobility than it is. Speaking your mind is 1 out of 100 times going to get you promoted, 99% demoted or fired. The authenticity that Schotty is speaking of, I fully believe in. And I do believe that, millionaire football players, millionaire 20-something-year-old professional athletes, they see right through a lot of the fake, like McCarthy. I hate to keep bagging on McCarthy, who actually was at the facility yesterday picking up the rest of his stuff. That's not a joke. They had a box still for him. Showing Austin Powers clips to try to motivate an NFL team, that doesn't get you. There's not a whole lot. I don't feel like Mike McCarthy is authentically Austin Powers guy. Maybe he is, and maybe that is his. That is what is authentic to him. But I think trying to get through to the bulk majority of this roster, it's Schotty being, if that is actually who he is, that guy that was talking to Micah on the phone, telling him like, oh yeah, bro, and thanks for calling. And, that kind of authenticity, I don't necessarily think he's faking that. And I'll tell you why specifically. He saw Pete Carroll do this exact thing in Seattle. Pete Carroll, of course, before turning USC into a powerhouse in the early 2000s, he had his cup of tea. He had his taste of NFL head coaching. I think it was, Jets and Pats, or maybe just Jets. But and then went to college, and we saw that version, college version, USC version of Pete Carroll. And then when he got the opportunity to come back into the NFL, took the Seattle job, we saw college version of Pete Carroll, not former NFL version of Pete Carroll. And Schotty was the offensive coordinator for those Seattle teams. And seeing Pete Carroll bounce around in practice and genuinely connect with the dudes. I think of the Bennett brother that played Michael Bennett played D-end up there for the Seahawks back then, and it felt like him and Pete Carroll were absolutely locked at the hip culturally and connected on that kind of authenticity over everything perspective. And so I think Schotty is onto something as he tries to build the culture that he keeps describing. But I think less of the podcast buzzwords that he's been using. A lot of the presence and intentionality is a big word for him that I've heard pop up in multiple clips. He seems like he's a real big, wellness, self-help kind of guy, which nothing wrong with that. I mean, that is, that's a lot of overcoming adversity is just overcoming the negative thoughts in your own brain. And it seems like Schotty really understands that this younger generation have way more outside pressures that weren't there in previous generations, mainly being, Micah opens himself up to a lot of those by doing the podcast. But the, trying to form those bonds through, authentic connections with the players. So far, so good. Again, none of this leads to touchdowns or interceptions or takeaways or, winning games. But I do think if you try to overvalue this culture, does a good culture lead to winning football games directly? I still think good players lead more so to winning games at that level. Like, obviously, you see it at the high school level. Some team can have half a dozen D1 prospects and get smoked by a small school that have all played together since they were kindergartners and have, are going to be lifelong friends because you can't not be friends with someone in a small town. We've seen it at the small levels, but once the talent gets that elite, I think the talent usually is what wins football games. But there is still value to actually liking the guy lining up next to you and actually wanting to fight to win games, not just for yourself, but for the entire team. And I think that is where that the culture conversation can start to actually have some kind of payoff. But for now, it's just bad, almost month late TikTok trends. But again, remind me in 3 months that I said I was starting to buy into some of this. But damn it if Schotty doesn't have me buying in a little bit. One thing I won't buy into, I say this, I have no desire to watch this, but I know I will. Look at that. This is the problem. LG, can I interest you in premiering August 19th, a Netflix sports series, America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. The Cowboys you know, the truth you don't. Only on da-dong.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Well, that's my question. So there's the first 3 episodes.
Is this the thing they've been filming at Jerry World this whole time? They've been following him with cameras everywhere. So this is what they're finally going to release this.
I think they paid Jerry something like $50 million for the rights to this.
Are we going to see Fun Time Jerry, or are we going to see Football Jerry?
I think that's why I say, look, the first 3 episodes, okay, that's him becoming the oil baron, oil tycoon, buying the Cowboys, and winning 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. There's 3 episodes. What's the rest of the series going to be? Are we going to get a Dave Campo
Fun babies
episode?
and cocaine.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get any mentions of Veruca or North Dallas, wait staff, bartender, barfly interactions in the bathroom.
We're not going to hear about the daughter he fails to recognize.
Yeah, that's that's your Veruca.
Oh, that's Veruca.
The flight attendant. Yeah. Who also was on her own reality show that we need to go back and watch, actually.
Wow.
Because no one knew that it was Jerry Jones' kid at the time.
We're going to get some under selfies, some upshots.
From the old Dalrymple, the old PR guy. No, I don't think you're getting any of that because Jerry is controlling it.
No.
And as much as... Again, I say as much as I have no interest in watching this, I know I will because it's Cowboys, and at least a couple of the seasons will be about the last time I actually enjoyed watching the Cowboys. So there's going to be some member berries, nostalgia berries that get tickled, but it just doesn't feel like, we saw The Last Dance. And, there was actually a crowning accomplishment that carried that story. We saw the Brady documentary or the Patriots documentary that Bob Kraft funded. That at least had a era, a dynasty to cover and not a short blip and then a lot of mediocrity. I just don't understand necessarily. I mean, I know it's Cowboys and it's Jerry Jones, so Netflix is going to do numbers for them, but what story is there to tell if you're not telling the story of the White House in the 90s where they all partied, banged whores, and did drugs?
So are they just going to end it after the third win, the third Super Bowl?
Well, I think
that's the end of Jerry's story right there. I think he's done nothing after that.
It should tell. I hadn't noticed this, but now that you say that, the promotional poster that was released, it's Jerry Jones, and then the only players on the poster, Emmett, Aikman, Irvin, Dion.
So it's going to end with that. It should end in the 90s.
Kind of feels like we might just get if that's the case,
you're going to get the glory days.
If that's the case,
you can relive it. Yeah. But how many of these have already been made? I mean, obviously they don't all focus on Jerry, but there's a ton of documentaries about that team and that run.
I think the only differentiating selling point would be that this is
Jerry's baby.
And Jerry is getting, which also means we know Jerry is going to be painted in expectedly the best light ever. I would think if he has all that control, but
hopefully they go like Tiger King with it, and the director just totally duped him.
Oh my God!
Just pull out all the drama and all the skeletons are going to come out of the closet.
Do you know how amazing that would be?
That would be great.
God, if Netflix just dupes him and they're like, oh yeah, Jerry,
they blackfish him.
Oh, dude, just to get all the access and okay. Cross your fingers.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, but August 19th, I have a unfortunate feeling that we will be locked in to because it's going to be late August watching this to get through training camp.
Yep,
then the season
timing.
starts, and then the Cowboys are going to be on the in-season Hard Knocks, because they're covering the NFC East. So we're going to get a lot of off-the-field Cowboys media this season, which is good for us because
that's content.
That is content, baby. Speaking of content, let's close it out with a little lightning round LG. I think we've done our best.
All right.
despite the spam from Captain in the chat, I see he. I'm telling you,
he's on one.
I was going to throw him a bone with the Netflix show there because I think I am more in agreement with him, a San Francisco 49er fan, of why the hell do we need another Cowboys documentary? What is the – so to my credit, it was a lot of Schotty slobbering, but it also – one thing we can agree on is I don't think we need another Jerry documentary. But let's close it out here with a little lightning round. We'll start with, since we are still sitting here as an NBA final game goes on, Pacers 101-98 lead with 6.5 minutes left. Maybe we can get out of here and pop over to the living room to catch the last of that. I saw this stat on, it started to spread online. You know, we've talked a lot about the Halliburton, the player votes, the players voting Tyrese Halliburton as the most overrated player.
Overrated.
Well, let me give you a number here. On shots to tie or take the lead in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime, these playoffs, Halliburton is 13 for 15.
Mr. Clutch.
He has made 13 of the 15 shots he has attempted to either tie or take the lead in the final 2 minutes of these playoff games. That is insane. I had to read it. Like, I read it and then read it again and then checked the comments to see if somebody had, was telling him, because this was NBA Central that put it out where I saw it, and almost too good to believe. Hit me, LG. Oh, indeed. Well, speaking of Spurs, Sam Amico reported today, it's either Amico or Amico. I think it's Amico. Not the most trusted source historically at times. And if you actually read the article that he referenced, there's no, of course, he's not going to share or tell his sources, but there's no, he doesn't even reference that he has anyone within the Spurs camp suggesting this to him. He really leaves it completely, cloudy of how he got to this idea. But he is reporting the Spurs aren't locked in on Harper with the second pick, which
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger question to me is what is his, what's his motivation in putting that report out there? Because it doesn't seem to be, he's the only person that said that, as everyone else is saying the number 2 pick is locked in. It feels like he might just be looking at the odds on the board and saying, well, if I'm the only one that says it and then it happened and then I'm right, I can claim. It's like he's taking underdog odds because maybe they're at least still open or talking about it. But I think Harper is clearly the number 2 prospect in this draft behind Cooper Flagg, and would be a solid number 1 pick in any other draft that didn't have a Cooper or a Wemby or a LeBron type talent at number 1. Hit me, LG.
You want to keep it real, you keep it real with me.
Oh, one more NBA story here. So the Knicks apparently tried to make a run at Jason Kidd, tried to hire him away from the Mavs to become their head coach now that they have fired Coach Tibbs. And as someone who has watched a lot of Dallas Mavericks basketball with Jason Kidd as the head coach, I would just ask why. Besides maybe the relationship building, like going back to Schotty, J. Kidd is the players love him, the players respect him, players seem to really, really take to his coaching. But as far, watching these, watching Rick Carlisle operate at the end of a game, the way he uses his timeouts, the plays he draws up coming out of timeouts, the way he sets his team up multiple possessions ahead of a final, final 30 seconds of a game. J-Kid is much more of the relationship builder than an X's and O's guys. And I think if you're the Knicks, those guys all have the relationships are great. They're all college teammates. I think you're missing an X's and O's guy, especially Thibodeau. The X's and O's on one side of the ball on defense were great, but the X's and O's on the offensive side, I think, is what ended up getting them in trouble. But all of that is mute because the Mavs declined to even allow Kidd to talk to the Knicks. So it seems like it also seems like Kidd had some interest, which I can't blame him after Nico trades away Luka and then drags Kidd out there in the press conference and wants him to talk for the team, be the face, which he should as head coach. But then Nico does such a poor job, the team stops letting him do media, and then there's no team president to do media. The new owner won't do it. So for a lot of this past season, Jason Kidd was just left as the one voice of the Dallas Mavericks, and it seems like he was at least open to talking to the Knicks, but as I said, the Mavs declined. So the end of that story, maybe the Knicks should look at trying to find a coach that's not already under contract. Hit me, LG.
All right, man.
Oh, Friday at the Alamo Dome, we're about to have a bunch of people pissed off again. It's another major concert. $60 parking Friday night for Shakira's world tour. It's going to be, that's a big one, obviously.
I'd go to that.
Oh, sure.
If I wouldn't pay, but I'd go to it if someone gave me tickets.
Well, it's the Alamo Dome. There's always a door unattended and left open.
Yeah.
Walk up smoking a cigarette. And just walk up smoking a cigarette and then just walk in. Very rarely do they stop you. The uprising has already begun. They posted the Alamo Dome, I guess now is trying to get out, or the city technically is trying to get out in front of it this time because so many people were pissed about the $60 parking for Post Malone and Jelly Roll. Now they did a post earlier this week, like a what you should know before you go kind of deal. And of course, $60 is, and I get it. They tried to compare themselves, Katy Perry's show at Moody was $110 parking in Austin, and Shakira's show at the Superdome in New Orleans was $100 parking.
No parking should ever be that much.
No,
ever.
Especially not when it's a city-owned property.
It's ridiculous.
And it's not like it's a concert. Like you're comparing yourself to like Jerry Jones is $150, $120 to park.
Good God.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's don't even get we've done 1-star reviews on the Alamo Dome because of the $60 parking. And apparently this is the first year they've done it. So the range is 10 to 60 now, depending on the size of the event. And it used to only be 10 to 40. So I can understand.
Are they still shutting down like the neighborhood around the Alamo Dome?
Oh, dude.
And preventing people from letting people park in their lawns and stuff?
Friday, it will be I will have no idea what to expect because they will close down a different street than they did for the Jelly Roll Post Malone show. They'll close different streets than they did for the graduation. There's no consistency. And honestly, most of the cops that are, quote, crowd control, they just sit in their car the whole time and watch people just drive through barricades. And like but it's easy money for them and easy money for the city to charge $60. Hit me, LG. Oh, man, we're gonna end up going longer because we still got to do our Charles Ramsey audio. A couple of quick hitters before we get out. Mentioned the Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys passing. I think the Beach Boys, for a lot of people our age, it was, or at least I'll speak for myself, it was easy to make fun of them growing up because it was, this 50s, 60s surf pop. Like it all felt so fake. It felt like it was made for a TV. It felt like it was made for a TV show that was going to be airing after school or afternoon if you were sick, homesick from school. It felt like it was just made for happy days, where it was the other way around, without Beach Boys. And specifically, mentioning the God Only Knows, Paul McCartney said that's his favorite song. It's the only song that still moves him emotionally every time he hears it. And I think that's a great description of, at the end of the day, what is good art? What is great art? It moves you emotionally to some extent. And I think that's the best way to describe specifically, God Only Knows, but the lore and the importance of, Beach Boys. Brian Wilson's baby was Pet Sounds, the first full, full pop album. It was, the Beatles, Rubber Soul, then Brian Wilson does Pet Sounds, and it's got all of this next level production, a lot of, just introducing, playing with the genre that hadn't necessarily been fully explored like that. And then the Beatles' response was Sgt. Pepper's. So, the kind of driving creative force that Brian Wilson and McCartney had back and forth all those years led, to two of the greatest, or even if you don't think they're the greatest, the most respected, most influential discographies or catalogs we've had in pop music. So pour one out for Brian Wilson, send Carney Wilson a ham, and then think we'll go ahead and slide into. I got the Coach Hallmark UTSA situation is weird because he claims his contract. Well, he doesn't claim. He says his contract is expired, and he's putting pressure on the university to try to invest more in the baseball program, which they should. They just won 47 games. But the weird part of it is UTSA had put out a release back a couple years ago that said he had signed a 4-year extension through 2026. Mm-hmm. So something changed along the way.
A clerical error, apparently.
It feels like it.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it, a clerical error. So I don't know. They haven't clarified it yet either. They haven't released is he signed or is he not?
Right, and if he's not, he's a hot commodity on
no
Roadrunners.
You can't let him go. The Roadrunners cannot let him go after what happened here. The baseball program would suffer immensely if they let him go.
I mean, what he's built the last 6 years, I would just assume that Lisa Campos is finding every way possible she can.
Find the money.
And then
take all that extra money you're not paying me and pay Hallmark.
There you go. Well, speaking of finding the money, the Holt family is suggesting that the citizens of San Antonio find the money because they're sounding the alarms that they're going to need more public funding in Project Marvel to actually get the project across the finish line or approved. And clearly they're setting up a bigger ask than was originally presented. So,
of course.
Yeah, and it'll be a good test for our new mayor to see exactly how she handles this, because now it is fully in her lap.
The captain has one from beyond.
Hold up.
Yeah, he sent me this. Apparently, they're serving a 16-inch loaded glizzy with a pound of fries for $40, and it looks like that's at Dodger Stadium there.
Oh my God!
Would you attempt?
No, I don't think. Okay, first of all, what's my body gonna feel like after eating that much Dodger dog?
Well, I need equal bun with dog. I don't need that much dog hanging out at the end of my bun there, because that's just all sausage you're gonna be eating there till you even get to the bread.
Yeah, it's like the Rangers sell something called a boomstick, and it's one of these elongated hot dogs.
So I went to Alice Cooper's restaurant in Phoenix once, and I had the big unit, which was
Randy Johnson.
Yeah, it was a Randy Johnson hot dog. It was like 3 feet long, and they ring a bell and it's like bottle service. They have the sparklers and they bring it out to you.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I can't say anything. I've been watching a lot of that bearded guy's food eating videos on YouTube. He goes a British dude that goes around and does all of the food challenges in America.
It's like Man versus Food,
basically.
British.
Yeah, but British and YouTube production. I don't think I'm attempting that.
No.
I would much rather attempt the 9 and 9. 9 beers, 9 hot dogs, and 9 innings.
That seems doable because those hot dogs are tiny that they serve.
Yeah,
especially if you go on like dollar hot dog night.
Yeah, and drinking 1 beer an inning. 9 beers.
But you're not going to be able to because they stopped serving at the 7th.
So you got to load up.
Yeah, you got to double up.
And then you got to drink lukewarm beer, which eating cold hot dogs and drinking lukewarm beer in the 8th and 9th inning, that might be where we falter. You
got to dip the hot dog in the beer, like Kobayashi does.
Yeah, or like that guy we saw at Yankee Stadium last year that made the straw.
Oh, we tried that? We did try that. It didn't work very well.
It did not. No, it was
kind of gross, too.
It was incredibly disgusting.
Yeah.
Hit me, LG. Let's close.
Hell no!
Let's go. Okay, I will give you editorial control. Do we think Captain needs to be here for the Charles Ramsey video? Because this one I don't want to keep as a running bit. I want to do it, but it feels he's watching. He's here. He's in the chat.
Yeah,
Fire the video.
react.
So
All right,
this
give me a
is
sec.
back in 2013. There was an absolutely terrible case of not just kidnapping, but like holding women. Imprisonment. Yeah, it was
sexual assault, imprisonment, kidnapping,
and right in the middle of a extremely populated Cincinnati neighborhood. He was, ends up holding 3 women for different amounts of time. One of them escaped. One of them had given birth while she was being held captive.
For years, he was holding these women.
We're talking a decade, over a decade. And this is the news report with Charles Ramsey, who just so happened to be Ariel Castro's neighbor.
Charles, let me talk to you. I'm talking with Charles Ramsey. He's a neighbor. Walk me through again what happened this afternoon. You heard screaming.
Heard screaming. I'm eating my McDonald's. I come outside. I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. So I go on the porch.
Okay.
I go on the porch, and she says, "Help me get out. I've been in here a long time." So I figured it's a domestic violence dispute. So I open the door, and we can't get in that way because how the door is, it's so much that the body can't fit through, only your hand. So we kick the bottom, and she comes out with the little girl, and she says, "Call 911." My name was Amanda Berry.
Now, did you know who that was when she said that?
When she told me, it didn't register until I got to call 911. And I'm like, I'm calling the 911.
So, like, Amanda Berry, they knew she was a missing person that had been covered
several years ago.
Right. And, if put yourself in this dude's position, like right now, if there's a missing person, or like, what was the name of that? I mean, we assume she was murdered, but the Almost Park, Alamo Heights mom that got, went missing.
Was it Simpson?
Yeah, something like that.
Simpson.
But like, if somebody ran up to me and said, "I'm so-and-so Simpson," I don't think I would piece that together immediately like this. So,
yeah, well, I think it just depends on how big of a deal it was in their little local community.
Yeah, I think the way they talk about it, it feels like it should have been a dead giveaway. Fired up.
For Amanda Berry, I thought this girl was dead. You know what I mean? And she got on the phone and she said, "Yes, this is me." And the detective, Cook, right here, Detective Gregory Cook says, "Charles, do you know who you rescued?" I said,
Now, and when did you see Gina?
Also, first of all,
About
Charles,
about 5.
when
He got distracted
when he
right
heard
there.
the
He's
siren,
like,
he was ready. Oh wait, hold on.
that's the sound of the
Yep,
police.
yeah.
He lost his train of thought on that one for sure.
We're good.
The reporter told him, "No, we're good. You're fine."
So
You're good.
About 5 minutes after the police got here, see, the girl Amanda told the police, I ain't just the only ones. It's some more girls up in that house. So they went up there, 30, 40 deep, and when they came out was just astonishing because I thought they were going to come up with nothing. I figured, whoever she was, and like I say, my neighbor, you got some big testicles to pull this off, bro, because we see this dude every day.
Kobe.
Every day.
Pause it real
here?
quick.
I've been here a year.
I love that he starts at first. He's like, he got some big old nuts on him, and he's like, no, hold on, I'm doing a news interview. He's got big old balls. Nope, that's still too. Goes full scientific on it. Big old testicles.
You got to do the proper terminology.
Every day.
how long have you lived here?
I've been here a year.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming from?
Right.
I barbecue with this dude. We eat ribs and whatnot and listen to salsa music. You see where I'm coming from?
Salsa music.
You had no indication that there was
Not
anything.
a, bro, not a clue that girl was in that house or anybody else was in there against their will. Because how he is he just comes out to his backyard, plays with the dogs, tinker with his cars and motorcycles, goes back in the house. So he's somebody that you look away because he's not doing nothing but the average stuff. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing exciting about him. Well, until the day.
What was the reaction on the girls' faces? I can't imagine
Pause it
the
real
sunlight
quick
to be
before
around.
we get in. So this is the big. This is the big viral moment. But this is the great thing about this interview. There are so many parts of it that him churching it up and calling them testicles. But you mentioned the salsa music. It's clear that he has been forced to listen to salsa music for years, and it's a sticking point for him. It's like, no, I didn't get to. He did the barbecuing, so he picked the music. Mr. Castro chose salsa music, and I had to listen to this for years because he makes some damn good ribs, and I want the ribs, so I put up with the salsa music, and then we get this gold.
Bro, I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms. Something is wrong here. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
Thank you very much for your time. And
Either she homeless or she got problems. That's the only reason why she run to a black man.
Charles, thank you for being there, man. Charles Ramsey, neighbor, heard the screaming, took action, went and did what he needed to do. The rest is unfolding before us here on Seymour. I'm going to send it back to you.
Reporter trying to recover and get back into professional mode.
He knows. He's like, I just struck gold.
Well,
he's trying to hold his excitement down. He did a good job too.
And Charles Ramsey knew he had struck gold because as soon as he said dead giveaway, he repeated it and then gave a thumbs up at the end. So if you ever hear randomly, if you ever hear a dead giveaway from either of us or any of us, like that is. I sometimes I can't get that clip out of my head once it's there. So
something is wrong here.
Dead giveaway. You gotta have big old testicles to pull off something like that. Well, I'd say our testicles are decently sized, LG. We pulled off not just a full show, we even elongated.
This is the longest show we've ever done.
I know.
Yeah.
That's it's almost like we need Cap to interrupt me to keep us on pace because that's a great. If you haven't noticed the the roles of our show here, the Cap is really good at alerting me that we are running way late. Because that's usually when he jumps in. But LG, why don't you alert me and bring up that outro music, and let's get out of here. Try to catch the end of this NBA Finals. Enjoy the U.S. Open this weekend. We will talk about it come Monday. Of course, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals, and the beginning of the College Baseball World Series, sans UTSA. All of that on next week's show. Eventually, we're going to get the roommate to make an appearance on one of these weekend shows.
That'll be nice.
LG, you doing any streaming?
Nothing planned yet. Friday, I will do a LG's house at
Very
8
nice.
p.m. A night show.
What is
Friday
that?
night show.
Twitch at LG's house?
Yep, Twitch at LG's house. If you want to follow me on Twitch or DJLG210 on YouTube and all the other socials.
Yep. Follow me on X at Biggest Puma, Instagram biggest.puma. Till then, till we meet again, till we talk again. Y'all be safe, be good. Peace.
Peace.
Kids, what do we say about drugs?
Only thugs use drugs. Say no to drugs.
Yeah!